Welcome into Sikkim365.com. I'm your host, Grayson Grundhoefer. I'm joined once again by Ashley Hodge as we continue to roll through this men's basketball roster, going through each addition to the roster for this upcoming season. Today, we're talking about Wyoming transfer guard Obi Agbim. He was the second addition during this transfer portal cycle after Michael Ratai, a guy who got Baylor fans, I think, really, really excited about kind of what this team could be, the additions they were making, his fit next to Rob Wright at the time, because that's what many people thought was going to happen. Obviously did not happen. Circumstances have changed, but Obi's still a fantastic addition and a guy who his situation has gotten even more interesting since Wright made his decision, because now we kind of sit here and go, could he be the point guard for Baylor going into this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think he's capable of being a good point guard in the Big 12. He's a guy that's developed. I think he started D2, then JUCO, or maybe NIA or D3 or D2, and then JUCO, and then on to Wyoming after that, and now Baylor will be his last stop as a college basketball player. Hungry, a kid like Ratai we talked about previously. He's just improved every year, getting better every year. Incredible attitude, infectious joy. Grateful to be at Baylor. Looking forward to the stage. Competitive, a shot maker, incredible athleticism. He's got things that you love to see. For a potential breakout player. Another guy that gets to the free throw line quite a bit, and he's a guy. I mean, he shoots the three well, 43% at Wyoming, and efficient offensive player with a very high usage rate on a team that wasn't great. But played in a really tough conference and put up some big time performances against some good teams. So I'm excited to see him in a Baylor uniform, and we might be seeing him play a lot of point guard.
So Obi averaged 17.6 points per game, 3.4 assists, 3.2 rebounds, 47% from the floor, 43.7% from three, and a 78.5% free throw shooter. And he's a 6'8" wingspan. So another guy with great length, great athleticism, really fits kind of that mold. I think the things that I look at with him, and it starts with the 3-point shooting. Ashley, who would be your guess on the last Baylor player to shoot over 43% from three while shooting 6 attempts a game?
Ooh.
Makes it a little bit tougher.
Whoa. Flagler?
It's actually not. You have to go further back than Adam Flagler. It's actually Brady Heslip. That's the level.
Okay.
That's the level of 3-point shooter that Obi Agbim was last year.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's impressive.
It is. And it's something that I know it has been talked about, but I don't know if it's been talked about enough. Like 43% on that many shots from the 3-point line is really, really impressive, especially when you have a usage rate like he did, where
you're drawing the other team's best defender. Sometimes you're drawing the other team's two best defenders.
Yeah. You're jacking up bad shots and not getting pulled from the game, like they don't matter. Yeah.
You're getting the ball in your hands with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. I mean, that's an impressive number given all those circumstances. So if he shoots in the 40s in the Big 12, Baylor's got something really special. No question about it.
Yeah, they do. He's got a 23% assist rate as well, which does speak to kind of what he could be as a playmaker, as a point guard potentially. He's a really good athlete, really good tempo, can get up and down in transition. Once again, bringing up this stat, because again, I feel like it was valued by the Baylor staff. He finished at 59% at finishing at the rim. So he does a good job getting to the rim. And when he gets there, he finishes. I think that's really important. I wish he shot a few more free throws than he did this past year, but 2.7 is okay. I'd like to see it get up to 4 because he's athletic enough in my eyes to do that.
Right.
As far as other things with him,
the thing that's going to be critiqued is his defense.
Yeah.
And his defensive stats weren't very good. But we don't know without watching every single game. Was that an effort thing? Was that a when you're the primary focus on offense, it's tough when you have so much pressure on you offensively. Do you, not put yourself in position to get in foul trouble? Do you make some calculated decisions? I mean, I think Norchad was labeled as a pretty bad defender, and rightfully so, because of these same things. Norchad had to stay on the floor. Norchad had to make some business decisions to not defend at the level that he should have defended at because he had to stay on the floor. It might be something similar with Obi. So in this team, that Baylor's trying to construct, where you have 9 or 10 guys that are interchangeable parts, even your better players, who I think Obi Agbim is going to be one of the top 3 or 4 players on the Baylor team. You can afford, to still play aggressive defense and tenacious defense because you got depth. And so hopefully that's the case, and he can really show something from a defensive standpoint this year.
Absolutely. And, one thing with him, and this brings us back to the Rob Wright conversation, that for him specifically, the Rob Wright thing was pretty big. And one of the reasons why I say that is, you look at his catch and shoot numbers, they are ridiculous. He's in the 99th percentile from a catch and shoot standpoint. So he does want, and in my eyes, need someone to be able to create shots for him, because that's where he's most effective. I mean, he is really, really effective in those situations. So you kind of miss that, but maybe that allows him to grow in other areas. One thing that I don't love is the mid-range jump shots. He shoots too many of those. I think Scott Drew, he mentioned something about Scott
inside
Drew.
The 3-point line. I noticed that,
Yeah.
They'll clean that up. That's a big pet peeve of Scott Drew's. He's going to make sure he's taking that extra step back and making some of those long twos become 3-point shots.
Absolutely. I did want to mention the step up in competition, but also speak to the Mountain West as a pretty good conference last year. They were behind the ACC according to KenPom, but they were the number 6 conference, and they were way ahead of the 7th best conference. So they're kind of right in there with some of those, not in the top tier, but that second tier. They were right there with the ACCs and the conferences like that. The other
concern in the tournament, New Mexico, Colorado State. I mean, there's some really good teams in that conference. Utah State. I mean, there were some teams that's not an easy place. Nevada. I mean, who else? I mean, plenty of great programs in the Mountain West.
Definitely. And pretty good history of basketball, especially over the last 10 years. And they went 12-20. So definitely a concern about empty calories there of his, stat sheet filling. Sure. But I think the thing that I really like is that his percentages were still really good. It wasn't like he was shooting, an astronomical amount of shots. He was still kind of within range while also having to, maintain this really high usage rate and still being very efficient on offense. I think that's very important and speaks volumes kind of about, where he was at last year and what he was actually doing. It wasn't just, go out there and just shoot as many shots as possible on a team that's losing.
Yeah, and he told me in an interview that he had with me that he's going to be spending the next few weeks in Dallas. He's going to be training. He's going to be in Waco as soon as he can. He's going to be, coming back and forth to Waco to get acclimated. Like, he seems like a guy that's just all in. He's going to be hitting the ground running, and I know they have big expectations for him. But I think his veteran leadership, along with Ratai and Skillings, guys that have played so many Division I basketball games, is going to really come in handy. I think he's and I'm excited to see him. We talk about Rob Wright. He's a good facilitator, definitely one of his strengths. But a guy like JJ White, when you got a guy like Agbim that's so good at catch and shoot, White and Isaac Williams. I mean, they're capable distributors and, big bodies with, physicality. And if they can get the ball to, Agbim in his spots, and really make him look good and, be the Tweety Carter to the Lace Dunn type situation, then, whoever does the best job of doing that may end up getting the primary point guard responsibilities. Because I agree with you, Agbim's probably best off the ball, but he is a guy that you can also put on the ball, and mix it up. So I think you're going to see a variety of that. But off the ball is probably his greatest strength. So getting a guy that can get him the ball in his spots to really score efficiently is going to be important for Baylor's success on the offensive end.
Right, and make no mistake, he's still good in the pick and roll game. Like that,
Yeah,
he can still definitely do that. I just
right.
think if you can get him a point guard who can consistently get 2 feet in the paint and suck in the defense a little bit and then be able to dish it out to him, I do think that is where you miss a guy like Rob Wright. You because he could get in the paint a lot of times. You know, there were some defenders where he did struggle to get in the paint, but having a guy like that would be very beneficial, I think, for
Right.
Obi for next year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who this other guard is that Baylor
Yeah.
brings in, and how his skill set will mesh with these other guys we have. But no, he's an athletic shot creator, and when there's 5 to 6 seconds on a shot clock, I wouldn't be surprised to see the ball in his hands a lot. Probably Tunde Yesufu is the other guy that's going to be in that situation, but the two of them can go get you a bucket or go get you a good shot attempt at the end of a shot clock. And we got great offensive rebounders. So, having guys that can get off a quality look and just, allow our offensive rebounders to go get it, or best case scenario, make the shot. But those are the two good outcomes that we can hope for as a Baylor fan.
He's my odds-on favorite to be the leading scorer. He's probably also my odds-on favorite to be "quote-unquote" Baylor's best player. If you wanted to put it in that way, I think he'd probably be the favorite in both of those areas. I'm very excited about him. I think that there's a lot here to work with, and I think there's even a little bit of upside on the defensive side because he is so long, he is so athletic. If he can just put it all together, I mean, you could see him grow into just a very well-rounded basketball player and potentially an all Big 12 type guy.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. We got a lot of time to figure that part of it out. Ashley, any more thoughts on Obi before we end today?
Another highly coveted guy. There's some rumors of Texas Tech really wanted him, targeted him, Kentucky. So for Baylor to land him is a huge deal and a testament to the culture. Even though we turned the roster over, we brought in a lot of high quality guys. There's just a vibe about these guys. I've mentioned it on the premium boards, but I text these guys for interviews. They respond right away. They're eager to do it. They're excited to be at Baylor. They're excited to put the work in. It's not just this was my best offer. I mean, they are really fired up to have this opportunity to wear the Baylor uniform. And I think that's all fans ask for, is guys that, are going to give you everything they have from an effort standpoint. And I think Obi's one of those, guys on this roster that's going to do that. And pretty much everybody on the roster has that same DNA. So just excited to see how this all develops. And, he's going to be a huge part of Baylor's plans next year.
Definitely something Baylor needed to change, addressing the culture and bringing in a bunch of guys who fit that culture and fit well together. It seems like they are well on their way to doing that. Obi Agbim, the latest of that. Ashley and I will be back continuing our segment to just continue talking about this Baylor basketball team. Really exciting stuff as the complete roster turns over.
6'8" wingspan, baby. Wingspan
there
matters.
It is. It absolutely does. Thanks for listening today. This has been a Ashley Hodge and Grayson Grundhoefer report going through the Baylor men's basketball roster. Thanks for listening.